Wedding night. My wife lay on the bed, a face full of disgust. Ethan, my heart belongs only to Liam. If you touch me, I'll die to show you. I looked at her virtuous, chaste woman act and laughed. All right, then tonight you sleep in the doghouse. The bed belongs to me. I rolled up the quilt and kicked her, pillow and all, off the bed. Get lost. Don't keep me from sleeping. She fell to the floor, completely stunned. Sophia's nightgown was now crumpled and bunched at her waist. She lay awkwardly on a Persian-style rug, her carefully styled chestnut waves spread like dead grass over half her face. She propped up her upper body, and those eyes, usually 3 parts aloof, 7 parts proud, were now filled with disbelief. Ethan, are you crazy? You actually dare to kick me? Her voice was sharp and grating, completely devoid of that otherworldly goddess demeanor she usually put on. I leaned against the soft headboard and leisurely smoothed the sleeve I just must, looking down at her from above. So what if I kicked you? Didn't you say you'd die to prove it to me? The floor is cool. Good for you to calm down, and while you're at it, think about which way of dying would look the most artistic. Sophia was shaking with anger. She pointed at me. The 3-carat pink diamond wedding ring on her finger sparkled blindingly under the lights. It was the one the original woman had spent over $10 million to buy back at auction, just to make her smile. But after she got it, she turned and posted a star message visible only to Liam, shackles. Truly shameless, offering face and getting none. Ethan, don't think that because I married you, I belong to you. I and Liam truly love each other. My body and soul belong to him alone. If you dare force me, I'll accuse you of marital rape. She climbed up from the floor. Before she'd even steadied herself, she began to morally condemn me. That's a routine the original owner could take. I won't. I casually reached for the lighter on the bedside table, clicked it, and the blue flame danced at my fingertips. Sophia, have you read so much that you've gone stupid? Look at this bedroom, this villa, even that nightgown you're wearing. Isn't everything paid for by my Johnson family? You take my money, live in my house, keep another man in your heart, and still want to guard your purity for him? You call this true love? I call it ingratitude. Sophia's face went pale, as if a sore spot had been touched, but she quickly lifted her chin again, putting on an air of looking down on money as filth. Money, money, money. All you ever think about is money. Liam is right. A merchant like you, reeking of money, doesn't understand what love or nobility is. The spiritual world that Liam and I share is something people like you could never reach. I scoffed and extinguished the lighter. That's pretty noble. So noble that your Taylor family needs me, a man who reeks of money, to put up $50 million in bride price just to keep you from going bankrupt. So noble that Liam's tuition and living expenses while studying in Center City, even the money he used to buy you that shabby bracelet, were all milked out of me. Sophia bristled like a cat whose tail had been stepped on. You're lying. Liam is a talented artist. He would never take your dirty money. That $50 million was given voluntarily by you. You begged me to marry you. If you don't care about it, fine, divorce. I'm leaving right now. She said it and lunged for the door. Her hand just touched the doorknob when she froze. She turned to look at me, as if waiting for me to do what I used to do. Burst into tears, rush over, grab her legs, and beg her not to leave. After all, in the book's plot, the original owner was exactly that pathetic. Whenever Sophia mentioned divorce, the original would act like a lost soul, conceding territory and paying compensation with no dignity left. Too bad. The current Ethan only wanted to watch the show. I crossed my arms and watched her stiff figure at the door with calm leisure. Why did you stop? Open the door, come on. The door isn't locked. Do you need me to call security to see you out? Sophia's back stiffened like a slab of stone. Of course she didn't dare leave. The Taylor family's debt crisis hadn't been resolved. That first life-saving $50 million still required Johnson Group's channels and resources going forward. If she walked out that door tonight, the Taylor family would be devoured by creditors by morning. She bit her lip, turned and glared at me, tears welling in her eyes, looking as if she had been grievously wronged. "Ethan, you've changed. You never used to talk to me like this. Do you have another woman outside? Is that why you're deliberately picking a fight to humiliate me?" I couldn't help it and burst out laughing. "Sophia, your knack for turning things around really opens my eyes. All right, I'm tired. I don't have time to watch a melodrama. If you don't want to leave, then shut up. This bed is mine tonight. Either you sleep on the floor, or in the guest room, or in the doghouse. Make another sound, and I'll have Mr. Wilson burn all your designer bags." Having said that, I pulled the covers over, turned off the bedside lamp, and lay down to sleep. In the dark, I could hear Sophia's heavy breathing and her stifled sobs. She stood there for a long time, and in the end didn't dare slam the door and leave. There were rustling sounds. She must have grabbed an extra quilt and curled up on the chaise by the floor-to-ceiling window. That night, I slept especially well. As for Sophia, she tossed and turned on the chaise and didn't sleep a wink. The next morning, sunlight streamed into the bedroom through the gaps in the heavy curtains. I opened my eyes, stretched lazily, and felt completely refreshed. Turning my head, the chaise lounge was empty. It seemed Miss Taylor had left early. I got up slowly to wash, changed into a well-tailored bespoke suit, and straightened my tie in the mirror. The man in the mirror had arched brows and bright eyes, a commanding figure. This appearance was truly top-notch. The original owner had such good looks and still chose to be a sycophant. What a waste. I went downstairs to the dining room, where butler Mr. Wilson had already arranged a lavish breakfast. "Good morning, Mr. Johnson." Mr. Wilson respectfully pulled out a chair. I looked around the empty dining table. "Where is Miss Taylor?" "Mr." Wilson's expression was odd as he said in a low voice, "Miss Taylor went out early this morning, saying she said she had arranged to meet a friend to see an art exhibition. She didn't even have breakfast, and she drove off in that red Ferrari from the garage. See an art exhibition? More like see Liam. That kid Liam just returned to the country a few days ago. I heard he's preparing a solo show at the Capital City Museum of Art. On the second day of her marriage, she abandons her husband to meet her ex. This Sophia is truly shameless to the extreme." I lifted my coffee and took a sip, my expression calm. "Mr. Wilson, send me the GPS location for that Ferrari. Also, tell the finance department to cancel all supplementary cards registered under Sophia's name." Mr. Wilson was stunned, the napkin in his hand nearly falling to the floor. "Mr. Johnson? Cancel all of them. Miss Taylor, when she's away from home, if she has no money to spend." I put down the coffee cup. The porcelain and the saucer made a crisp clink. "Doesn't she treat money like dung? If she's that lofty, spending my money would surely make her uncomfortable. I'm doing this for her." "Right. Check the list of sponsors for Liam's exhibition again. If there are any companies under the Johnson Group or related enterprises, pull all funding." "Mr." Wilson was shocked, but as the butler of a wealthy family, his ability to execute orders was first-rate. "Yes, Mr. Johnson. I'll take care of it right away." After breakfast, I got into the Maybach and headed straight for Johnson Group headquarters. On the way, my phone vibrated. It was a text from the bank notifying me a charge had been declined. Immediately after, Sophia called. I looked at the screen as the word wife flashed and put on mute, tossing the phone aside. I could already imagine her expression, probably in some luxury store or gallery, holding a black card that wouldn't go through, mortified and wishing she could sink through the floor. When I arrived at the office and stepped out of the elevator, a figure in business attire came up to meet me. "Good morning, Mr. Johnson." Her voice was crisp with a hint of professionalism. It was my personal secretary, Chloe. Today she wore a white silk blouse paired with a black pencil skirt. Her long legs, wrapped in black stockings, were straight and slender. A pair of gold-rimmed glasses sat on the bridge of her nose, giving off a subtly seductive air beneath her austere appearance. In the original owner's memories, Chloe was a work-only robot, but I caught that fleeting glint in her eyes when she looked at me. "Morning." I nodded slightly to her and strode into the office. Chloe followed closely behind and began to report today's schedule. "Mr. Johnson, There's an executive meeting at 10 in the morning to discuss the development project for the Nanching plot. Lunch is scheduled with Mr. Reed. 3 in the afternoon. She reported methodically. I sat in the large leather executive chair, my gaze nonetheless roaming her. Chloe. I suddenly interrupted her. Chloe stopped, pushed up her glasses, and looked somewhat puzzled. Mr. Johnson, any instructions? I remember you studied art appreciation in college. Chloe was momentarily taken aback, then nodded. Yes, Mr. Johnson, but I later earned a double degree, majoring in financial management. That's good. A playful smile tugged at the corner of my mouth. Cancel the afternoon's schedule. Come with me somewhere. Chloe was a little surprised, but she still agreed with consummate professionalism. Okay, Mr. Johnson, where are we going? Do I need to prepare anything? I twirled the pen in my hand, speaking casually. To the Central Art Museum in Jing City. I heard there's an exhibition by an unknown painter there. Since my wife likes it so much, how can I, as her husband, not go and show my support? Chloe's expression instantly became a little complicated. She clearly knew about Sophia and Liam, and also understood what I meant by show my support. Mr. Johnson, are you going to catch them in the act? She didn't dare say those 2 words aloud, but her expression had already betrayed her. I stood up, walked to her side, and looked down at her. The distance between us suddenly closed, and I could smell the faint scent of gardenia perfume on her. Catching cheaters is boring. I'm here to teach them a lesson. Also, to show you what kind of art is truly valuable. Chloe's cheeks flushed slightly. She instinctively took half a step back, but quickly steadied herself. Yes, Mr. Johnson. I'll arrange the car right away. Watching her hurriedly leave, I was in a great mood. Sophia, Liam, it's time for your artistic dreams to wake up. Central City Art Museum. The place had been reserved for a private event today. Flower baskets filled the entrance, most sent by Sophia under various pretexts. On the poster, Liam wore his hair long, his gaze melancholic, dressed in a linen-textured shirt, looking every bit the underappreciated artist. The exhibition hall wasn't crowded, just a sparse few people, mostly planned higher by Liam or Sophia's circle of girlfriends. When I walked into the lobby with Chloe, I happened to see Sophia and Liam standing in front of painting. The painting showed the back of a woman, her upper body naked, the lines soft and graceful. No guessing needed to know who the model was. Sophia had changed into a plain, elegant long dress today and stood beside Liam, tilting her head up with an adoring look. Liam was pointing at the painting, preaching passionately. Sophia, look at the tension in these lines. This is my longing for freedom, my indictment of the shackles of convention. Only by your side does my inspiration not run dry, because you yourself are the most perfect work of art. That cheesy pickup line churned my stomach. Chloe was standing behind me and couldn't hold back a snore of laughter. Her laugh sounded particularly grating in the empty showroom. Sophia and Liam both turned their heads. When Sophia saw me, her expression instantly soured horribly. She glanced guiltily at Liam beside her, then remembered the car that had been canceled this morning, and anger quickly overshadowed her guilt. She strode over to me, her high heels clacking on the marble floor. Ethan, what are you doing here? How dare you show your face? I ask you, why did you cancel my card? Do you know how embarrassing it was just now when I was over there buying a picture frame and my card wouldn't go through? She rushed up to me, pointed at my nose, and demanded answers, completely disregarding that this was a public place. Liam came over too, but he wasn't as brazen as Sophia. He glanced me up and down. A flicker of jealousy and disdain crossed his eyes, but it was quickly replaced by a haughty expression. Mr. Johnson, this is a temple of art, not a place for you to haggle over money. If you're here to pick a fight, please leave. Don't defile my painting. I ignored Sophia's roar and instead glanced at Liam with interest. Defile? Mr. Carter, good choice of words. I reached out and pulled Chloe from behind me, bringing her to the front. Ms. Bennett, you're the professional. Give us your evaluation. How much is this painting worth? Chloe didn't expect me to suddenly push her out, but she reacted quickly. She pushed up her glasses and gave that painting titled Breaking Free a sharp once-over. The composition is chaotic, the use of color extremely mundane, and the traces of imitation are obvious. Especially the handling of light and shadow. It's frankly beginner level. If it were hung in a decorative art market, it might fetch about $200, frame included. But considering this is Mr. Carter's masterpiece. Chloe paused, the corner of her mouth lifting into a professional, forced smile. I think even if you paid people, no one would want to hang it at home. It's just too big. Liam's face went green with anger. He fancied himself a genius and had never been subjected to such blunt humiliation. You uncultured Philistine who doesn't understand art. What do you know? Sophia screamed, even more sharply, as if someone had stepped on her tail. Shut up, you little secretary. What right do you have to criticize Liam's painting? Liam's painting has even won an award in Senna City. Ethan, are these the people you brought? No manners at all. I let go of Chloe, stepped forward, and closed in on Sophia. Manners? Sophia, you're spending your husband's money to hold an art show for your ex, and you even stripped naked to model for him. Is this what you call manners? My voice wasn't loud, but it was enough for everyone around to hear clearly. The gallery fell silent at once. Several passers-by who had been looking at the painting turned to cast gossiping glances, pointing and whispering about the artwork. Oh my, so that's his wife? TSK. That cuckold's wearing that hat so proudly. Sophia's face instantly flushed bright red, not sure whether from shame or anger. Why you? What are you talking about? That's art. It's body art. Your mind is filthy. You see filth in everything. Liam also panicked and rushed over, trying to push me. Ethan, don't slander us. Sophia and I are innocent. I sidestepped his hand and slapped him back. Smack. The crisp smack echoed through the showroom. Liam spun around, clutching his face, stunned. Sophia screamed and rushed over to steady him. Liam, are you okay? She turned and glared at me viciously, tears welling up and spilling over. Ethan, how dare you hit someone? I'm calling the police. I disdainfully pulled out a wet wipe and wiped my hands as if I just touched something dirty. Call the police? Fine, report it. Just have the police investigate where Mr. Carter's living expenses in Kina City came from during those years. Also check whether the $5 million Miss Taylor secretly transferred from my account counts as transferring assets during the marriage. Sophia's body froze suddenly. Her eyes flickered. She didn't dare look at me anymore. That was the money she secretly transferred to Liam last month to help him prepare for his exhibition. She thought I never kept the books and wouldn't notice. Liam covered his face, a trace of panic also flashing in his eyes. Although he was proud, he knew living off someone else wasn't something to be proud of, especially when the money had been stolen from the rival's bowl. I looked at the pair of reckless lovebirds and sneered. What? Not calling the police anymore? If you're not calling them, then listen carefully. I scanned the exhibition hall and raised my voice. Starting today, Johnson Group is withdrawing all sponsorship for this exhibition. Venue rental, promotion, materials, not a single cent will be paid anymore. Also, this painting, I pointed to that piece, Breaking Free. Since the paint and canvas were bought with my money, then it's mine. Chloe, Mr. Johnson. Chloe replied, have someone take it down and bring it back. Hung on the company restroom door to ward off evil. Yes. Chloe stifled a laugh, took out her phone, and started calling people. Sophia trembled with rage, tears falling like beads with broken strings. Ethan, you're being too much. You'll regret this. I will definitely make you regret it. I didn't even glance at her. I turned and walked away. Regret. Sophia, come back to talk about regret when you can repay that $5 million. Oh, that's right. Remember to come home tonight. After all, our accounts haven't been settled yet. Back at the office, I cheerfully handled a few documents. Chloe came in carrying a coffee, and there was a trace of curiosity and admiration in the way she looked at me. Mr. Johnson, back at the gallery just now, you were really handsome. She set down the coffee, her voice a little soft. I looked up at her and smiled, saying, "What? Wasn't I handsome before?" Chloe's face flushed, and she hastily waved her hand. No, you were handsome before, but you used to be too miserable, right?" I spoke up for her. Chloe pressed her lips into a smile, tacitly agreeing. "All right, stop flattering. How are the current financials of the Taylor family you were asked to investigate?" Chloe reverted to a professional demeanor and pulled a report from the folder. "The situation is dire. The Taylor Group's main business has been operating at a loss for 3 consecutive years, and the bank loan is due next month. They were counting on the new project funded by the Johnson Group to revive things, but the project approval is still in our hands. If there is no capital injection this week, they will have no choice but to declare bankruptcy and liquidate." I took the report, glanced over it, and my fingers tapped lightly on the desk. "Very good. Notify the project department to put that project's approval on hold. As for the reason, just say the risk assessment didn't pass." Chloe's eyes lit up. "Mr. Johnson, are you going to close the door and beat the dog?" I closed the folder, a cold light flashing in my eyes. Sophia wasn't strong-willed. Didn't the Taylor family think they had me all figured out? "I'll make them understand that without the Johnson family, they're nothing." As I was saying that, my phone rang. It was Sophia's mother, my dear mother-in-law Margaret Taylor, calling. She probably went back and complained. I answered, and my mother-in-law's sharp voice came through. "Ethan, what on earth is wrong with you?" Sophia came home in tears, saying you froze her card and humiliated her and Liam in public. "Aren't you a man? Already married, and you're bullying your wife like this." "That Liam is Sophia's classmate. It's just pure friendship. How can you be so narrow-minded?" I held my phone a little farther away and waited for her to finish speaking. "Mrs. Taylor, have you finished?" "Ethan, what kind of attitude is that?" "My attitude is simple. Since Sophia married into the Johnson family, she must follow the Johnson family's rules. Using my money to support some stray man, no matter the era, that's unacceptable. If you think I'm petty, that's easy to fix. Have Sophia return the money she spent on Liam these past years, principal and interest. A total of $23,500,000. I'll waive the small change. If it's paid back, I'll pretend none of it ever happened." The phone fell silent instantly. Over $20 million. For the Taylor family now, it was an amount they couldn't produce. The mother-in-law's momentum immediately weakened, and her voice grew a little shaky. They're a young couple living together. Why count things so precisely? "Ethan, Sophia has been spoiled by us. Please be understanding." "I can't be understanding." I cut her off. "Have Sophia return to the villa tonight. If she doesn't come back, don't even think about tomorrow's project approval." After saying that, I hung up the phone. Chloe stood by, dumbfounded, then gave a thumbs up. "Mr. Johnson, impressive." I smiled, stood up, and straightened my suit. "Let's go off work. There's a gathering tonight. I'll take you to relax." That night, I didn't go straight back to the villa. Instead, I took Chloe to the Skyline Club. This was where the top second-generation crowd of Jing City gathered. The original owner had rarely come to places like this before because he was a henpecked husband and was afraid Sophia would be unhappy. As soon as I appeared today, the private room immediately livened up. "Oh, isn't this Mr. Johnson? What a rare guest. Newlyweds and not home with Miss Taylor. How do you have time to come out and play?" The one speaking was old friend Noah Parker, with a fresh-faced model curled up at his arms. I casually picked a seat, and Chloe obediently sat beside me, pouring me a drink. "Don't mention it. My wife is currently staging a hunger strike against me." I took the glass and said indifferently. At once the others perked up. "What? Miss Taylor's still that hard to please?" I say, "Mr. Johnson, you pamper her too much. If you ask me, you can't spoil a woman. The more you do, the higher she'll fly." "Exactly. With Mr. Johnson standing, what kind of woman couldn't he find? Why cling to just one?" Everyone jabbered teasingly. The original owner would have lost their temper at remarks like these, but I listened smilingly. Just then, the private room door was pushed open. A man in a server's uniform carried a tray of drinks in. Long hair, melancholy eyes. It was actually Liam. The room fell quiet for a moment. Noah, sharp-eyed, recognized him at once. Isn't that guy? Miss Taylor's male confidant. What was your name again? Liam. Liam clearly hadn't expected to run into me here. His face went instantly deathly pale. The tray in his hand was trembling. So the so-called independent artist, after his gallery funding fell through, had to come here to wait tables for quick cash. After all, the tips at Skylight were generous. I leaned against the sofa, swirling the wine glass in my hand, smiling with a hint of mockery as I watched him. Mr. Carter, what a coincidence. What? The exhibition's canceled? Switch careers to experiencing life? Liam grit his teeth, staring at me as if he wanted to throw his drink in my face. But in a place like this, even with 10 times the courage, he wouldn't dare. Anyone the patrons here could crush him. Mr. Johnson, I'm a part-timer here. May I ask what drink you'd like? He forced himself to ask, trying to keep the last shred of dignity. Noah saw the cue and let out a chuckle. Since you're a friend of Mr. Johnson, you must be treated well. Come on, Mr. Carter. Open this whole row of bottles and fill Mr. Johnson's glass. Noah pointed at the row of costly Louis XIII on the table. Liam's face turned ashen, but under the manager's urging look, he could only walk over and, with trembling hands, uncork the bottles. Smack! Maybe I was too nervous, or maybe my mind was elsewhere. A bottle slipped and shattered on the floor. The wine splashed all over Chloe and me. Chloe cried out and hurried to wipe me with a napkin. Liam stood there stunned. That single bottle was worth his entire year's living expenses. The foreman rushed over and slapped Liam across the face. Can't you see? Do you know how much this wine costs? Hurry up and apologize to Mr. Johnson. Liam covered his face and bowed his head in humiliation. I'm sorry, Mr. Johnson. I didn't mean to. I pushed Chloe's hand away, stood up, and looked at the mess all over the floor. You didn't mean to? Is what I didn't mean to supposed to be enough? I walked up to Liam, my dress shoes crunching on the shards of glass with a creak. Liam, aren't your hands supposed to only hold a paintbrush and never touch anything rough? How can you not even steady a bottle? Looks like you're not only bad at painting, you're bad at carrying trays too. Liam trembled all over, his eyes red-rimmed. Ethan, don't push people too far. I'll compensate. I'll pay you. Compensate. I smiled. This bottle of wine is $58,000 plus the ruined clothes and compensation for mental distress. Round it up to a nice number, $100,000. What are you going to pay with? Let your Sophia, who is still on a hunger strike, pay for you. When Sophia was mentioned, a trace of hope flickered in Liam's eyes, but it quickly faded. He knew Sophia was now, like a clay bodhisattva crossing the river. Just then, the private room door was pushed open again. Sophia burst in, panting. She had obviously received Liam's desperate call or heard the rumors. Seeing Liam kneeling on the ground with his face swollen to twice its size, Sophia was heartbroken. Liam. She rushed over to help Liam up, then turned and glared at me. Ethan, are you even human? Why do you have to pick on him? He just broke a bottle of wine, didn't he? I'll pay you for it. Saying that, she reflexively reached into her bag for her card. Only when she pulled it out did she remember that all the supplementary cards had been frozen by me. Her hand froze midair, and her expression changed through a spectrum in an instant. Low laughter rippled around them. Noah was even more merciless, sneering. Miss Taylor, will this card still work? I heard Mr. Johnson froze all your cards today. Why don't you beg Mr. Johnson? Sophia gripped that useless card tightly, her knuckles white. She looked at me with humiliation and resentment in her eyes. Ethan, as long as you let Liam go, What about it? I raised an eyebrow at her. What leverage do you still have to negotiate with me? Sophia, look closely. The love you pride yourself on is worthless in the face of money. If Liam had been firmer just now, saying he'd rather go to prison than beg me, I might have thought better of him. But he didn't. He called you and asked you to pay his bill. Is this your true love? Sophia was stunned. She looked at Liam. Liam avoided her gaze and stammered. Sophia, I have no money. Sophia's body trembled, as if some belief were collapsing. I waved my hand like shooing flies. Enough, don't be an eyesore here. These $100,000 put on the Taylor family's account. Take your true love and get out. Sophia gritted her teeth, supporting Liam, and in the midst of everyone's teasing glances, fled the private room in a disgraceful state. Watching their retreating figures, I picked up the other glass on the table and drained it. Chloe came over and asked in a low voice, Mr. Johnson, are you just going to let them go like that? I pinched her chin. Let them go. The game has just begun. Let the bullets fly a little longer. Sophia sent Liam back to his cramped apartment. They were both silent all the way. Liam's face was swollen, and he no longer had his usual aloof look. When they reached the downstairs, Liam grabbed Sophia's hand. Sophia, I'm sorry for embarrassing you today, but Ethan is too mean to people. He just uses his money to bully others. Sophia looked at the man who had once obsessed her, and an indescribable weariness rose in her heart. She had previously thought Liam's poverty meant unrecognized talent, a kind of aloofness. But today at the club, watching Liam timid and unable even to afford a bottle of liquor, she felt for the first time that money really mattered. It's okay, you should rest. Sophia withdrew her hand, her tone somewhat cold. I'm going back first. Sophia. Liam grew anxious and grabbed her. Don't go. Do you despise me? I swear I will succeed. When my exhibition is held, when I become famous, I will repay all the humiliation I endured today. Help me one more time. Go beg Ethan. Ask him to restore the exhibition sponsorship. Sophia froze. She pushed Liam away and looked at him in disbelief. What did you say? You're asking me to go beg Ethan? Do you know how he humiliated me today? Liam's eyes flickered. I know, but Sophia, only you can help me. Didn't you say you'd do anything for me? As long as the exhibition can be held, our future will have hope. Sophia looked at Liam's anxious face and suddenly felt very unfamiliar. Where had the Liam who read her poetry by the Seine and said he'd rather starve than bow for 5 measures of rice gone? Liam, I'm tired. Sophia stepped back and turned to get into the car. No matter how Liam called after her, she did not look back. It was already late when she returned to the villa. The living room was brightly lit. I was sitting on the sofa, holding a document. Chloe sat beside me, peeling an apple for me. The two were close together in an intimate posture. As soon as Sophia walked in and saw this scene, the suppressed anger that had been building inside her exploded. Ethan, you actually brought this vixen home. Do you have no shame? I didn't even look up, took the apple Chloe had sliced, and bit into it. This is my home. Do I need your approval for who I bring back? What about you coming back so late? Have you settled your true love? Sophia rushed over and slapped the apple out of my hand. Ethan, we aren't divorced yet. You're committing adultery while married. I stared at the apple that had rolled onto the carpet, my gaze growing cold. Chloe, pick it up. Yes. Chloe bent down to pick it up, but Sophia stamped on the apple and crushed it underfoot. Let's see who dares to pick it up. Ethan, you have to give me an explanation. I stood up, grabbed Sophia's chin, and forced her to look up at me. Explain. Sophia, get your facts straight. Right now it's your Taylor family begging me, not me begging you. Since you have so much backbone, let's settle the score. I picked up the documents on the table and slapped them in her face. These are the financial loopholes in the Taylor Group over the past few years, and the evidence of you embezzling company funds to support Liam, plus the $100,000 from tonight. $250 million in total. By tomorrow morning, if I don't see the money credited, you can start getting meals delivered to your Liam in prison. Sophia looked at the documents scattered all over the floor, her hands and feet ice cold. She trembled as she picked up a few sheets. The dense figures on them made her dizzy. Embezzlement of public funds. This was a serious crime. She had taken the money to help Liam in an emergency, thinking that as long as no one knew, you were spying on me? I was protecting my property. I let go of his hand and wiped myself off disdainfully. Sophia, I gave you a chance. You're the one who didn't cherish me. Tonight, either sign the divorce papers and leave with nothing, or behave yourself as Mrs. Johnson and stop testing my limits." Sophia collapsed to the floor, tears streaming down her face. She knew it was over. Without the Johnson family's protection, the Taylor family would fall and she would face prison. And Liam, the man who couldn't even come up with $100,000, couldn't save her at all. I won't divorce," she said through tears, her voice as thin as a mosquito's. "I won't divorce." I looked down at her from above, a cruel smile curling at the corner of my mouth. "Not divorcing? All right. Then starting today, you will obediently stay at home. Don't step out the door without my permission. Also," I glanced at Chloe, "from now on, you'll do the household chores. Dismiss all the servants. If you don't want to be a wealthy madam, then go experience the hardships of the working people." Sophia suddenly looked up, her eyes full of terror. "What did you say? Make me do housework? These hands of mine are for painting." "Painting?" I sneered. "What do your hands do besides spend money? Don't want to do it? Then go rot in jail." Sophia bit her lip, blood seeping out. She looked at me, then glanced at Chloe beside her with an indifferent expression, and finally lowered her haughty head. I'll do it." The days that followed were nothing short of hell for Sophia. The Johnson family villa was huge. Just sweeping and mopping it left her exhausted. The hands that once only held paintbrushes and a credit card were now rough, and several of her nails had broken. As for me, I spent my days bossing people around at the company with Chloe at my side, and came home at night to nitpick the results of her labor. The floor wasn't mopped properly. Do it again. The food is too salty. Throw it out and make it again. The clothes aren't ironed smooth. Do you want me to go to a meeting wearing wrinkled clothes? Every time she heard my reprimands, Sophia could only swallow her pride, silently cry, and redo the work. She tried calling Liam for help, but his phone always went unanswered. Later, she learned that after Liam found out the Taylor family was about to go bankrupt and that Sophia had been confined by me, he bought a standing ticket in the middle of the night and ran away. Rumor had it he went back home to meet a demolition family daughter, Olivia Davis, intending to marry into her family. When she heard the news, Sophia was wiping the stair railing. She stood there stunned for a long time, then threw down the rag and sat on the stairs, wailing loudly. She cried as if her heart were being torn apart. It was unclear whether she was mourning a lost love or lamenting her own blindness. I stood quietly in the second-floor hallway and watched her cry. Not a trace of sympathy. All of this was her own doing. If she had behaved herself from the start, even if she didn't love me, as long as she maintained outward respect, I wouldn't have acted so ruthlessly. But she should never have trampled on my dignity and used my money to support a kept man. "Have you cried enough?" I said coldly. Sophia lifted her head, her face streaked with tears, her eyes swollen and red. "Ethan, Liam, he left. He doesn't want me anymore." "Oh," I responded lightly. "Wasn't this expected? Only an idiot like you would treat him like a treasure." Sophia sobbed, climbed the stairs, and grabbed at my pant leg. "Ethan, I know I was wrong. I really know I was wrong. Please forgive me. I'll live properly with you from now on. I don't want Liam anymore. I'll be a good wife. I'll cook for you. I'll wash your clothes." Looking at her humble, pleading appearance, I felt not the slightest stir in my heart. She was like a dog with no home. If I'd known it would come to this, I shouldn't have acted the way I did. I kicked her hand away. "Sophia, you're late. The mirror is broken. Even if you glue it back together, all that's left are cracks. I have no interest in you anymore. I had to do the housework these past few days to make you face reality. Tomorrow, the lawyer will bring the divorce agreement. I'll help pay off part of the Taylor family's debt as compensation for these past years. The rest, you'll have to figure out yourself." Sophia froze. She hadn't expected that after I had tormented her like this, I would still want a divorce. "Ethan, you can't treat me like this. I love you. I just realized it now. I actually love you." She babbled out a confession, trying to grab the last straw. I crouched down and looked her in the eyes. "Love. Sophia, don't insult that word. You don't love me. You love the money I give you, the status of Mrs. Johnson. When all of that is gone, only then will you think I'm important. This kind of love is too cheap. I stood up and stopped looking at her. Pack your things and get out. Sophia signed the divorce papers. The day she left the Johnson family, she took only one suitcase. It held a few old clothes, the ones she used to wear before she married me. Those designer bags and jewelry, I didn't let her take a single piece. Because those belonged to Mrs. Johnson, and she no longer was. She stood at the villa gate and glanced back one last time. The place she had once discarded like old shoes had become a paradise she could never return to. The main gate slowly closed, cutting off her view. The Taylor family went bankrupt. Sophia's father suffered a stroke from rage and was admitted to the ICU. To raise money for medical bills, Sophia took a job as a drink promoter at an upscale nightclub. I heard that because she was pretty, many rich second-generation heirs harassed her. Once, Noah went to that club and saw her. He came back and told me as a joke, "You have no idea, Sophia was wearing that super short skirt, kneeling on the floor to pour me drinks." TSK. Who would have thought this was the same Miss Taylor who used to think she was better than everyone? She even asked me if I could lend her some money, said her father was about to die. Mr. Johnson, would you say this is karma? I listened, smiled, and said nothing. Everyone must pay for their choices. She enjoyed years of wealth and glory that weren't hers. Now she's just paying back what she owed. As for Liam, that demolition household's daughter Olivia is a shrew. I heard Liam had a miserable time after marriage. Not only did he have to serve his wife's entire family, he also had to endure domestic violence from his wife. Once he sneaked out to paint, but his wife discovered him and smashed all his painting supplies, even breaking one of his hands. From then on, there was no longer a Mr. Carter in the world, only a one-handed stay-at-home husband. Half a year later, at Johnson Group's celebration banquet, I linked arms with Chloe and stood under the spotlight. Chloe had now been promoted to vice president of the group. She had shed her youthfulness and become more confident and charming. Mr. Johnson, congratulations. The South City project was a huge success. She raised her glass, smiling broadly. I clinked glasses with her, my gaze gentle. Congratulations, Vice President Bennett. Tonight to my place? Chloe's face flushed, but she didn't refuse. She simply nodded slightly. In the corner of the banquet hall, a woman in a server's uniform stood holding a tray, staring blankly at the glamorous us on stage. It was Sophia. She had lost a lot of weight, her complexion waxen. Long gone was the charm she once had. Seeing Chloe and me so close, tears streamed down her face silently. If only back then, but life has no ifs. I glanced at her out of the corner of my eye, but quickly looked away. To me, she was just a passerby in a book, a tool for slapping faces. Now, the story is over. It's time for me to enjoy the brilliant life that belongs to me. That night, in the master bedroom of the villa, Chloe wore the nightgown Sophia had once criticized as too tacky, yet she carried it with a different kind of allure. Ethan, she called my name with feeling. I kissed her lips, giving all my tenderness to the woman before me who was worth it. The moonlight outside was like water. Everything was just right.